Introduce yourselves.
My name's Andrew.
Hi, Melissa.
I'm Matt.
We're the Woodsheep.
Glad to meet you.
Good to meet you.
So, how do you guys form? What was the secret behind your formation?
We actually, me and another guy started as a duo in college playing folk music, and we released our first record. And for the first record, these two were also students with us at the college, and we asked them to play bass and drums on the record, and we just kind of immediately jived. And that very year that we had the first album, we toured all over the place, about 300 some shows over the span of that first record's release, and just went really well. And so we kind of lost a lot of the folk edge and started moving more towards like an indie pop folk kind of vibe, and that's just kind of been how it is since.
Like Americana, or
You know, we've always struggled with genre. I don't like subscribing to a genre. I like to write a song as a song and put together the ones that kind of fit. So, but people have called us genre hopscotch, but I think pop folk Americana is probably the best name.
what's behind the Fuzzy Duck Coffee Tree books?
Well, let's see. So the Fuzzy Duck and the Coffee Tree Books is in Moorhead, Kentucky, and I grew up in Moorhead, Kentucky, and it was our old university cinema. So they renovated it. In front of it is the coffee shop, and the back of it is the Coffee Tree Books. It's owned by a family, Marge and Dan Thomas, and their daughter Susan Thomas and her husband Grant Alden, who began the No Depression magazine with Peter Blackstock. So
Okay.
I started working there, and started an open mic.
So you
going
started open mic.
on. Yes.
And it kind of became our home base, and it still sort of is. I started working there shortly after,
Right.
and you know, it's a really small town, but it's really thriving artistically. There's a lot of creative people, a lot of videographers and artists, and we've collaborated with a lot of those people, and they all come to the Fuzzy Duck, and they all get their books at Coffee Tree, and it's just a really good place to play, a really good place to write. We actually recorded some of our upcoming side project there, so
We've done video releases there.
we've done video, all of our releases.
I've seen the videos, some of the videos.
Yeah,
That's why I know about it. How's the grilled cheese there? Because I saw the grilled cheese on the menu. And grilled cheese in a restaurant could be hit or miss.
It is actually, I think, one of the best grilled cheeses. We use 4 slices of cheese, provolone and cheddar.
I put jalapenos on mine. Delicious.
So they like customize a little bit too.
Oh yeah, best grilled cheese in town for sure.
And I saw it's also for storytelling and knitting.
Those are both Melissa things too. She's
Yeah, so I started Coffee Tree Books and Fuzzy Duck has been around for over 20 years, but they were in a different location. And so they've had story time and stuff. And then I did story time for a while. Marge and her daughter Susan, the owners, they are both very experienced knitters. And so I guess 2 years ago, you know, they had some knitting supplies, and then they decided they were going to start beginning knitting classes, and so now there's just this whole community of knitters that come in Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and sometimes other days in between that to knit, and we do projects together, and it's just another internal community within the community.
a big part of our music is we draw a lot of influences from Appalachian music and from children's music, and those kind of go hand in hand a lot of the time. A lot of those children's songs are just Appalachian folk songs and Celtic folk songs, a lot of folk songs from all kinds of places. And so Melissa started this storytelling. Of course, she doesn't live there anymore, but she did the storytelling, and so it's kind of nice to come full circle and have some of these songs that are really influenced by children's music and the whimsy that you have in those sorts of songs. So I like that about story time at the bookstore.
And since you're from Moorhead, well, since the band is centered in Moorhead, let's say that. Have you seen the video, Can't Stop the Feeling, the lip sync video?
I have seen it, yes.
Were you involved with it?
They tried really hard to get me to be in it, but I was wearing a cut-off tie-dye T-shirt that day, and I thought, I don't need to be seen like that in this video for Moorhead. But it was so much fun. The whole town came out for that.
That was the mayor's idea, right?
Yeah, it was the mayor's idea. She's new, and she's great, and she has done a really good job. And bringing people together and making it contemporary. And it's, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
So why aren't you playing the Poppy Mountain Bluegrass Festival that's coming up? I thought you'd be on that.
Can I be controversial for a minute?
Yes, you may.
We are so tired of bluegrass label. We are not a bluegrass band and have never wanted to be.
Well, I
And-
don't say it had to be bluegrass to play on the bluegrass.
Yeah, no, you don't. But it's really hard to drop that when you have an upright bass and you played with a banjo for a long time. and I love bluegrass music. We love it. We studied it, and it's an amazing style of music.
It's just
but
not what we play.
It's not representative, and so we'll get booked at these bluegrass shows because people think that we're a bluegrass band, and then people like it. But then they're also like, well, what is this? What's happening? There's songs about cats with a synthesizer. This
We're
is
not bluegrass musicians.
And then it just becomes awkward, and because bluegrass is a really tight community, and it's really rooted in tradition and heritage, and we kind of like to subvert that and do weird stuff. So we really, I would love to play at Poppy Bluegrass Festival though, but it doesn't seem like it would probably be our scene. But maybe sometime. I think we could do an awesome bluegrass show there.
Funny
with
story,
our
I was at the
synthesizers.
very first Poppy Mountain Bluegrass Festival doing horse rides, leading horse rides, because my dad was good friends with the owners of it.
Okay. Melissa, I got a couple questions for you.
Okay.
Your other projects. Your latest project, let's say your project that you're doing after this, because you have a concert after this, correct?
I do, yes. We are actually going to, I currently live in Cumberland, Maryland. Just moved about a little over a month ago. So I've been trying to link in. I've met the people that own this little pub in Crescenttown called the Churchill Pub and Restaurant. The owner, he's from London originally, and his wife's from California, ex-wife's from California, but they're still business partners. And so we're going over there to do a show, trying to link up performers here from the Purple Fiddle that maybe play an afternoon show and don't have anything to do that evening to come over there and play. 'Cause
Okay.
it's just an hour drive from here to Crescenttown, Maryland.
And what's the queen of the part-time jobs?
The queen of the part-time jobs. Well, let's see. Since studying music, I have, to make music work in my life and be able to travel around. It's hard to have a full-time job if you haven't already been in it for a long
Right.
time. Because it's kind of hard to go in for a job interview and be like, well, I'm going to need the second week of September off, and actually the third week of September off, and then the first week of October off. So I started working at the bookstore part-time, and then I started working at the Fuzzy Duck as well. So I worked both of those. I cleaned a guy's house, one of the locals that came in the bookstore all the time. He needed someone to clean his house, so I did that. What else did I do? So now that I'm in
Knitting, playing music, teaching English.
So now that I'm in Cumberland, it's kind of the same thing. Like, all right, how am I going to make this work? Because, I'm glad that they're up here this weekend. But most of the time, I have to go to Kentucky. So now I'm going to be part-time or full-time if I can make it happen, teaching English to Chinese students online. I'm working with the Churchill Pub to coordinate some new acts because they have the same people come in all the time. I've been doing some landscape work for John here at the Purple Fiddle to fill in time. So it works. It's nice to do something different, not do the same monotonous thing every day.
Oh, by the way, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. It's my 21st annual 25th birthday.
Okay. So, electric bass or stand-up?
Stand-up bass. I'm trying to, I'm getting ready to take some lessons on the electric bass. I bought a cute little micro bass off of Jesse Wells, our good friend Jesse, he plays with Tyler Childers now. And everybody's like, well, it's the same instrument.
No, it's not.
No, it isn't. It's just weird. So I met a guy, there's a music store in Cumberland, and there's a guy that on Monday, I'm going to start taking lessons with him on the electric bass, because it's tinier and it'll definitely travel easier.
Right.
So,
Fretless or with frets?
it is fretless.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it has frets, but it doesn't really. It just has lines on the neck. So, yeah. So I'm gonna give it a shot. So.
Andrew. Bear Claw. for nickname?
Yeah.
You've done your research.
Yes, I have.
We were playing at Madison Garden in Richmond, Kentucky, quite a long time ago now, and
3 years.
I used to play clawhammer banjo a lot.
Mhm.
It's a really old style of banjo, really traditional style. It comes from Africa, and
It has no back on it, correct?
right, it can, but it doesn't usually.
Generally, yes.
And a lot of times they're gourd banjos, actually. Anyway, so we were playing, and there was this really, really drunk guy there, and he was just loving it. He was so into the music, and anytime I would play banjo, he would scream, "Get on, Bear Claw!" And we were like, what is he saying? What's he talking about? And he thought clawhammer, he got it confused with Bear Claw, I guess, but it stuck. I actually have a giant tattoo on my back that says Bear Claw now.
Cool.
So,
It doesn't
I've
because
embraced
it's your
it.
favorite breakfast food, right?
it is my favorite breakfast. I like sweets, if you can't tell.
And since you work at the Fuzzy Duck once in a while, what's your favorite coffee?
You know, I'm actually not a huge coffee drinker.
You are?
I'm a tea guy.
Your tea? Okay.
I do
What's your
like-
favorite
I
tea
do
then?
like- The best coffee there is the Dan's Dark Roast.
Dark roast.
I will say that. Everybody
Okay.
loves Dan's Dark. It's great. And it's an Italian espresso. But the best tea there is this rose saffron tea. It is so good. I like anything rose flavored. Turkish Delight, rose flavored Turkish Delight.
Mhm.
Best candy. Anything rose. Yeah, that's my favorite tea.
Oh. I'm sorry, roast stuff is nasty.
Remember that rose garden we went to?
Yeah.
We went to a rose garden in China, and everything was rose flavored. It was really hit or miss.
We're in China.
I liked it. Qingdao, specifically Jimo City area, China. So we
So was it a tour or was it like,
it was a tour. Yeah,
how many cities?
well, it was all in Qingdao, but it was different parts of Qingdao. So we went to Lubang.
It's enormous city.
It's huge.
Like, it's like not just there's a lot of people there, but it's like expansive.
I mean, it's larger than
the land area
some
of the
countries
city.
of
Yeah,
just the city.
it's gigantic. We drove an hour out, and we were still in Qingdao. Like, went to the beach and then drove an hour back in, and not even close to being on the outskirts of town. It's crazy huge. So
Well, it became really funny because we have like these home bases like Fuzzy Duck. You know,
Mhm.
they call us when they need music, and you know we tour a lot, but there's always those places that call us back, and Purple Fiddle is one of those, and it's cool because it's a 4-hour drive from Moorhead, but it just feels like a home base, and so does Jimo City, China now because we've been there a couple times, and it's just kind of interesting to think, oh yeah, there's this coffee shop there we go to, you know, we have all our friends there, and I didn't think that I would ever find such a third home in China, so to speak. And then we went to Ireland last year after China, and it started to feel that way too. So it was pretty cool doing all the traveling.
So you went to Ireland, China. What other countries have you been to?
We went to Northern Ireland and Ireland.
Oh, okay.
So
There's a
and
difference there.
We did that all in a span of 3 weeks. Was it 3
Yeah.
weeks? It was a really short period of time. We just jumped the 4 countries and
China 12 days, home for 2 days, Ireland for 10 days.
Yeah.
It was
That's insane.
it was wild.
It was amazing.
Well-
it was an awesome trip. It was tiring though.
Well, since you're based out of Kentucky, remember base, I'm going to ask you about a few bands out of Kentucky. I want you to give me your what you think of them, or just somebody's statement about them. A lot of Wyona,
What is it?
Wyona Jug.
Winona
Oh, I
Judds,
know
the
the
Judds.
Judds.
I
The
love the
Judds.
Judds. I've always loved the Judds. Winona and Naomi.
Hmm.
Great harmonies.
Yeah, just funny. I've always loved them.
Kind of a classic.
Patty Loveless.
Melissa always kind of gave me Patty Loveless vibes.
I like Patty Loveless. I saw Patty Loveless at the West Virginia State Fair. I won't
Okay.
tell you what year. She opened up for Garth Brooks. It was before, it was when he was releasing his album with Shameless.
So he was still playing bars at that time, which he has gone back to.
As he should. He's a great bar guy.
He just played in Chicago in a bar.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I think 200 people in the bar. That was it. Chris Stapleton.
I'm from Paintsville, and so my aunt went to high school with Chris.
Oh, okay.
And she said he was really shy, and I think he was the valedictorian.
He was.
I think, yeah. And so he just kind of blew up, you know. I mean, he's been working for a long time, but it's really cool to go home and see the billboards with Chris Stapleton's face on it, and I like that he's doing something different. It's pretty cool to break the mold.
Yeah, he's a guy that doesn't need a genre either. We'll play with like Justin Timberlake,
Right.
something like
Yeah,
that.
I really
he's
respect
a
that.
beast.
Speaking of genres, Cage the Elephant.
Man, Bowling Green band. I met them at Comic-Con one year.
Really?
Yeah, they were just hanging out. They're cool guys.
Yeah.
Good band.
I like
Yeah.
HL.
And last band, Joan Osborne.
Oh,
I don't know, Jonah.
you do. She's saying if God.
Was one of us.
God
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know she was from Kentucky.
either.
Yeah, she is.
What part of Kentucky is she from?
That I don't remember. I did some research from bands from Kentucky.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
That
I
was-
didn't know
she was there.
Either, yeah, but yeah, I like her too. I didn't know she was.
Kentucky's a great place for music.
My Morning Jacket's from Louisville.
My Morning Jacket.
Yeah.
Great.
I looked them up and
Jim
Yeah.
James.
I know who they are.
They're
And
cool.
Love Jim James.
Yeah.
Any favorite bands you guys enjoy listening to?
We all listen to different music.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, I know.
all the
Good,
time,
good
though.
spread.
Yeah.
I was listening to Simon and Garfunkel on the way up, and then I switched to the Magnetic Fields, and then
Oh,
some
wow.
Bjork. So I like eclectic music. I like a good combination.
I've been listening to Roger Miller in the car because I love the quirky. I love those songs, and I love all the noises that he just adds into the song.
I listen on this drive. I listened to a band called Oh Sleeper, which is a metal band. They just released an album. They're awesome.
Yeah, because what kind of music did you play? Who did you drum for before you joined the Woodsheep?
I played in a band called After Ascension. We were a metal band from Lexington. We weren't very good, but we were heavy.
They were pretty cool. I saw a video.
And,
Okay.
But yeah, so I listened to a lot of metal, and then I listened to a girl called Aurora. She's from Norway. And she makes like synth pop music. I really like her.
Like board type?
It's like kind of a similar vibe, but it's a bit more like poppy than Bjork is, where Bjork can kind of stray away from it a lot. Aurora doesn't as much, but her synth like sound is a lot more present, I feel.
Almost
Awesome.
like
Yeah.
K-pop?
Kind of, a little bit, very like environmentalist kind of lyrics,
All right.
and just I don't know. She has a very interesting way of speaking. I like watching her interviews and stuff. She's super cool.
And the Purple Fiddle is here.
Yes. Ready to play.
And you're playing 2 nights here, correct? Well, 2 days here.
Today and
Yeah.
tomorrow, lunchtime concerts. It's great because there's so much traffic through lunch from people from DC and other places coming to visit. So,
You ever been down to the falls?
have we? Well, I think we
We
went
went
when
to-
it was frozen.
Yeah.
The very first time we came here.
We've always been here when it's frozen.
Yeah, it's
Well-
This is the
Well, it's not frozen now.
We come after Thanksgiving every time. This is the first time we've been here during the summer.
yeah.
when you haven't needed a coat to be out here, so it's kind of nice.
Our first Christmas card. We took our pictures from the falls.
We
actually.
did, yeah. I forgot about that.
And where are you going after this?
We're going to Maryland tonight to play a show with, and then back to the fiddle. And then so next week we've got some more Kentucky shows. Charleston, West Virginia. After that, Huntington, West Virginia. Harrison, Ohio. A small Appalachian thing for this tour. So we're working on some bigger stuff next year. We're actually having we're releasing an Appalachian folk album this year as sort of a farewell to that style that has kind of held us up for a while.
Okay.
And we're doing a video album of just straight up indie rock, pop, folk combination music. And so we're going to do a cross country tour next year for that.
What about South by Southwest? You thought about that?
It'd be awesome.
We had wanted to do that last year, and then China and Ireland happened.
That's okay.
So it complicated things.
Well, maybe next year.
Yeah.
You got to apply soon, though, I think.
Yeah.
I think October is the deadline.
We'll go apply after this.
It'd be very cool to
Get
play.
your phone out.
I'll do it right now.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I enjoy seeing you play in a couple minutes, and thank you again.
Thank you so
Thank you for having
much.
us.